What day is today, Bill?
Yeah,
Feels like Friday.
that's good.
It's the fourth day of the week.
All right. So, good morning, folks, and this is a meeting of the Senate Ag Committee, and I'll call the meeting to order. It's May 11th, and the main purpose of the meeting is to Senator Persling has an amendment that he'd like to add to our Bill H 472 in regards to the tax exemption on the advanced wood boilers. So, Senator, you want to explain your purpose of it? I'd be glad to hear from you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks for having me in and doing this on short notice. So this language is almost identical to S93 that the Senate passed earlier in the session. The only difference is S93 had a 2-year extension, and this is a 1-year extension. And the reason for that is I didn't think I was able, the bill passed Senate, got caught up in House Ways and Means. They passed it to House Natural Resources and Energy, which didn't have time to look at it. I didn't think I was going to get it added to miscellaneous tax, because that seemed like maybe a good place for it, because the other body didn't want to do that. So then I thought this was a good, because I think of ag and forestry, and I think that advanced wood heat is a way to support our forestry and forest products industry. And so, but then Cummings did decide to add it to miscellaneous tax bill, but only for 1 year. So I wanted to, but I just did so we could have belts and suspenders. I wanted to also amend it to this bill because I don't know how the House is going to.
Now, are we going to make it permanent so we don't have to fool with this every year?
Well, that's my goal, is also to have this kind of more introduction to this committee. So maybe this committee would be interested in working on this next year on a more permanent extension, or look at how we're dealing with heating systems and sales taxes. Because there's other things that have permanent sales tax exemption, but this has this 1 or 2 years.
Well, and if you may answer this probably better than I, but if we move along the route that we're sort of headed in with the clean heat standards, this is a major heating source for Vermonters along with heat pumps. And could you tell us, are heat pumps tax exempt?
Yeah, they're not tax exempt.
Yeah.
But like solar is tax exempt. All the other renewables are tax exempt.
Renewables. Yeah.
So this is not tax exempt. Yeah, and I think these wood heating systems are critical for some buildings. Just for trying to do it with heat pump would be so expensive. It would be crazy. So, but for example, trying to heat this building with heat pumps would be ridiculous.
You're growing the building.
So, but it's a good building to heat with wood, and that's how it is. So they're big old buildings, old schools. We have like 20-some schools and people. There's some places where it just makes a lot of sense. And this is specifically for advanced wood heating, so it's not for like a wood stove.
No.
Or, those old outdoor core wood boilers, those things. This is only for the ones that are kind of high efficiency, low emissions, mostly pellets. It could be dry heat, but they have to meet the efficiency standards.
Yeah. Other questions for Brian?
Yeah, so Andrew, on S93 is passed already, correct?
Yes.
And that has the expiration date of 2025.
Yes.
So this one is 2024.
Yeah.
I guess I'm confused. It seems, I know you've used the all too familiar term, belts and suspenders, but as long as it's in and exempt, you don't really care what the date is?
Well, I would rather have a long or have a permanent. That would be my view. But when
You're afraid of the other body's reluctance to.
yeah, so what I didn't know, what was happening yesterday at the end of the time, that because first Cummings said we're not going to put it in miscellaneous tax because the other body won't like it. But then there was some discussions, and they said, okay, we'll agree to only 1 year because we didn't take testimony if you really need it, we'll put it in for 1 year, so come and put it in, this like tax bill yesterday. We did voting at this morning, but, but if this was 2 years and that was 1 year, so I talked to the budget council, they said that could be, at first they said, like, we'll have 2 years here and 1 year there, but if they both pass, then, I don't know,
It's passed last.
I don't know, that's, or they canceled them out.
It's the one that's last. If they both have the same effective date, the last one passed is considered to be your legislative intent, and that would supersede the previous one.
And yeah, I was afraid they'd like, just cause confusion, and if maybe we're doing 1 year, at least keeps it going, make sure, I was worried that, because that's what they said, oh, we'll take it up next year, but it expires in July, so then you have July, you know, and I know some of these advanced wood heating companies, you know, sign contracts now for installations that might happen after July
I
1st.
didn't know if it made any sense to harmonize the date with what is in S93.
Well, that's what I originally thought, but this would harmonize it with what's in the miscellaneous tax bill. But this would allow us, in case something happens on the miscellaneous tax bill, because
Okay.
It would allow it to go to next year and then next year deal with it long term. Because I mean, it's crazy to keep coming back every year because if enough people change and don't think about it,
yeah,
it'll just go away and if we should be promoting these type of systems for, you know, villages and even a development, you know, if you had 10 homes, say, on a advanced wood boiler system where they could buy a load of wood chips or whatever and heat the whole area with one heating system.
Okay.
It would probably make some sense, rather than each house having to put in a separate heating system.
Yeah, that's, and there are incentives right now, but those incentives are running out, like we used some ARPA money, we have some old ARPA money actually that was loaned out and came back. But when that, you know, it's amazing, it's still around. But that money, when that money runs out, there won't be any cash incentives for these systems.
So what is the estimated tax? Well, it won't be a loss because we have been collecting it.
Right, well, so I think we passed the sales tax exemption originally in like 2017 or right, 15.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
2018.
2018.
It was initially going to sunset in 2021. It's been extended once to 23.
And then, yeah, 2018. It's de minimis is what the fiscal note says, you know, because we're only putting like 40 systems in a year, 40, 50 systems. There's been increasing a little bit as they get more known and people are starting to look at these things.
Yep.
But they are expensive systems. These boilers, all the good boilers, unfortunately, are imported from Europe. America has not figured out how to make a decent pellet boiler, unfortunately.
Well, I know we can't make a wood pellet furnace to go in a basement.
But they do make.
Tried that.
Yeah, there's been American manufacturers, but they're basically all junk and they all break down and then the companies go out of business. But because in Europe, fuel oil is $8 a gallon, there's a huge incentive to use pellets. So, you know, almost all of these are from Austria or Denmark.
But what are we gonna do about our 30, is it 30 by 30 or 50 by 50 with no trees left? Where are we gonna not be able to cutting trees?
Well,
We're gonna be like Guatemala, no trees at all, just twigs growing.
right. Well, I like the change of that bill.
Oh, no, we'll be all trees.
I'm gonna stick down all the time, so I'll move
There are
to
trees in Guatemala.
accept this as a friendly amendment.
We should do a field trip to Guatemala. Make sure that the trees are still there.
Interrupt them. So we have a motion on the floor to
Accept this as a
accept
friendly
this
amendment.
as a friendly amendment to our bill. Is there a second? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion's carried and thank you,
Thank you.
Andy,
Thanks,
for
Andy.
coming in.
Thanks for doing it.
And Brian will be reporting
Yeah.
that bill. So
Okay.